Welcome to Mobile Agent TV. I am Michael Thorne of Remax Little Oak Realty in Langley, BC, and my co-host, as always, is Dave Falkware of Bridgewater, New Jersey's Remax Preferred Professionals. Dave, I'm over the Blue Jays. You're over your beloved Mets, and now we move on to a football. I guess we wait for spring training. I don't know where we go from here.
Yeah, it's 102 days till the pitchers and catchers report. I counted it down this morning.
You're not keeping your eye on it at all. We've got an awesome show for you guys today, but there are a couple things that we've got to get through to at the beginning of the show. Sometimes we have things we've got to discuss. We got to keep you guys updated on. Sometimes we don't. Today we got a lot of stuff that we've got to talk about before we get on and share an amazing guest with you guys. As always, you can interact with us live using the hashtag MATV Live and get us on Twitter at Mobile Agent TV, as well as I will enable the Q&A feature in here somewhere. Oh, that's right, we're on YouTube now. Q&A feature. If you've got any questions for today's amazing guest, pop them in there. I'll keep an eye on it as we go there. Now, we are back on Google Hangouts. We've been broadcasting through OBS, which is a higher produced show. And that's definitely where Dave and I want to go. But when we had the Stone Sisters on, and it was our very first try at it, there was a lot of lag there. We had some encoding issues, and I've done some research in the last couple of days, and those encoding issues have to do with the fact that my MacBook Pro is a 2012 generation bare bones MacBook Pro. But yesterday, the huge announcement from Apple, the new MacBooks came out. I threw some money at Steve Jobs' heritage, and new MacBook Pros on the way, all bells and whistles. Hopefully it gets here in time for the November 18th show, because that's the show where we have the guys on that have taught us how to do OBS on the show, so that'd be great to go back there. So that's what's up. Next week's show, we have Linda O on the show. Linda's phenomenal, and we're going to be talking about something that really is the foundation of a great business in real estate, and that's the psychology of a listing. Listings is definitely where you want to go when you're building, and she's got great content. It's going to be a phenomenal show, Linda O, next week. But I do want to tell an awesome Remax story. Dave is aware of the Remax story that I'm about to tell, but for all of you, I want to share something phenomenal with you. You've definitely, if you're a regular viewer of the show, you've sort of watched the two journeys that Bruce Johnson and Holly Johnson have gone on to raise money for CMN. The first trip took them from Wasaga Beach, Ontario, down to Costa Rica, raised about $100,000 or so for CMN, going to Remax offices. And they took a flag with them, and they sold that flag at R4 2 years ago, and it went up for auction, and they sold it for $30,000 to the people back at Remax Ontario Atlantic, and they returned the flag to Bruce. They gave the flag back to Bruce, which was phenomenal. On August 1st of this year, Bruce and Holly Johnson did their second journey, this time across Canada, visiting all 14 CMN hospitals, and they took a flag with them this time. And they signed it. I signed it. Our team member signed it. My boy signed it. And the question was, do they sell that flag at R4 in front of 9,000 Remax agents, or do they sell that at the Canadian conference at to a much smaller audience? Because it was a Canadian flag, Bruce and everyone around him decided that they wanted to go ahead and sell the flag at the Canadian conference, which was last week up in Whistler. It's a phenomenal story. So what happened? The flag went up for auction, and Lori Van Dinther, who was a champion agent, and Sarah Kolke started bidding on the flag, and it quickly got up to about $9,500, $10,000 to where Lori Van Dinther said, that's sort of my limit. And then my broker, Ray Akena, jumped into the bidding and bid up against Sarah Kolke, and just back and forth. They both went unwavered. They didn't hesitate to bid, and they went back up. And when it approached $15,000, and you can go to Motorcycle for Miracles on Facebook and watch the Facebook Live of it. I broadcasted on live on their page. You can hear Sarah Kolke sort of under her breath say, "My limit is $15,000." And so when Ray Akena bid $15,100, Sarah Kolke jumped out of the bidding. And amazingly enough, the flag sold to Ray Akena of Remax Little Oak here in the Lower Mainland for $15,100. And that was the end of the story that night. And it was amazing, and it was overwhelming. And a lot of people obviously thanked Sarah for stepping up, because that's what caused the flag to go for $15,100. $100. Jesse and I had been up there doing a video boot camp. We hit the road a little early. We didn't stick around for the sort of the last evening's festivities. Quickly put out a thing on Facebook saying that I can't believe that the entire event raised about $102,000 for CMN. I'm proud to say that Holly's helmet is back here on the set of Mobile Agent TV. It will have a place up here on the set. And so I asked Bruce if Holly wanted the helmet back, and he said that it should have a spot here. And there was a lot of things that sold that night, and the total being $102,000 for CMN. And then I quickly got a message back from Sarah Kolke saying, I think your number is wrong. I didn't know what that meant. And as we were on the road coming down on the highway, this is what happened. Sarah reached out to Ray, or Ray reached out to Sarah almost the exact same time. And Ray asked Sarah if she would like to buy the flag that he bought 24 hours earlier for $15,000 from him. Absolutely, she would love to buy the flag. So $30,100 for CMN for the flag. Sarah Kolke's proud that it beat the American number down in R4 by $100, but Dave, we've had them on. We've had Bruce on the show twice. You're a big motorcycle guy. You're a big CMN guy. You're a big Remax guy. And for a guy that spent his whole career, Dave, in the Remax world, maybe you're not surprised family that this is. But for a guy that's only been here with a brand for 5 years, it brought me to tears. The amazing people that we're able to surround ourselves with every single day. It's just a phenomenal Remax story, and a lot to do with Bruce and Holly.
Absolutely. If you just want to see the degree that this, go to R4 and go to the auction every year. You just see phenomenal things there. People giving. I mean, giving unbelievable amounts of money and things that Dave Lindinger has done himself personally for the Children's Miracle Network.
And it just runs right through. And I said I had to pull over to the side of the road with Jesse, and we're going to get into it a little bit with today's guest. But when you are the sum of the people you spend your most time with, and the people we spend our most time with at these conventions are amazing Remax agents with amazing businesses, with amazing hearts, with amazing. We've had it on the show, Dave, for 3 years here. The amount of people that will come in and just give, it improves you. It makes you better, and it's just amazing to be surrounding yourself by incredible people that understand, like Leo Bruno said on the show a few weeks ago, that you have to give to start the receiving process. And just phenomenal story. And I don't think the story's over yet. We'll keep you updated, but I don't think the story's over yet. I think Sarah has some plans. I don't know what they are, but I don't think the story's over yet. But I just wanted to talk about that. And really, Bruce is out with the Canadian Remax hockey team, traveling through Europe right now, doing some great stuff over there too as well. Bruce, you're amazing. Holly, you're amazing. But on to today's show. Today's guest is Veronica Figueroa. I nailed it. And as always, we read out our guest's 160 Twitter bio. You can get her on Twitter at Figueroa Team. And our 160 Twitter bio reads, broker owner of Remax Innovation and team lead of the Figueroa team in Orlando, Florida. Committed to our clients' negotiating end results. Welcome to the show, Veronica.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Quickly, give us a bit of your history in the real estate space to give our viewers a bit of context.
I have been selling real estate since 2004, been with Remax since 2012, and broker owner of a previous boutique, and was active in the REO market. So you name it, I was an agent during the crisis. I survived it. We thrived in it. And as a result, we've had a lot of stories to lead us up to where we're at today. And I'm just excited to share it with you. I was talking on stage just yesterday at the Zillow premiere. And I was saying that owning our story and all the things that we've done in our real estate career has led us to where we're at today. And I'm just excited to be here.
Yeah, and you've got some great content. And just to give everyone some context, you're coming from us from your hotel room at Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas right now because you were out at the big Zillow event. So let's start there. Chris Spiker was on stage. Chris has been on the show many times on Mobile Agent TV. What are you able to talk about? Anything exciting in the Zillow world? What's the event all about? And what can an agent take away from the sort of stuff that you guys are sharing there at this particular event?
Absolutely. Chris Spiker is a really good friend of mine, mentor, someone I respect in the industry. So just to be able to share some of the platforms with him is exciting. And what we are doing out here is really just, I believe we're a part of a movement of really high level thinking agents, no matter what company they're with. Proud to represent RE/MAX on the platform, obviously, but we're out here learning more about what Spencer and the team out at Zillow are laying out for us agents to stay ahead of the game when it comes to technology, how consumers are searching, and how we can align that with our business. If it's a good fit for our business, we are seeing an increased ROI. We're seeing better quality agents when it comes to the online generation of our industry. So this is our second year coming out, and over the last 12 months, it's been an amazing ride for us because we were introduced to what Premier Agent Forum was last year. As a participating Zillow agent, we didn't know the extreme or what it really meant until we came here. Fast forward 12 months later, our business has grown, obviously, with other things that we do and with the wonderful support behind us with RE/MAX, but we were able to just leverage what Zillow was providing and be embraced by a community of agents. And 12 months ago, we learned how to master, I would say, the online relationships that we were forming when it came to having a really strong online presence, having really good quality response times, and how to build a team. So that's why we're here. We came here last year, and this year we were able to, which is going to be one of the core values that we're going to talk about, give back to the community of what we experienced over the last 12 months, and now sharing it with some fellow other agents who are either or trying to grow their business. And we're just giving back and learning and excited. There's some new products that were launched, and just implement that in our business and share it with our agents in our office, our agents, that we network with, and just continue to give back.
Yeah, and Veronica, on that note, you said something very interesting, and I really think it's the crux of all this transition that our industry is living through. It's a huge transition that we're going through. But you talked about relationships online, Zillow, and how do you create those relationships? I think where a lot of people fall short, Veronica, is that they see them as leads, that they see them just as a lead and not as a relationship. And I know, looking at your core values and the way you present yourself, I think if there's one thing that we need to continue to remember, that no matter how much technology changes, the interaction, you still got to put them in the car, Dave. The interaction with the buyers and the sellers are still people that are going to have a relationship. How you get to that relationship has fundamentally changed and changed our business. But we can't mistake that just as a digital footprint on the other side. That's a relationship. And I know that your core values speak to that quite a bit. So when you're out speaking or people seeing what you're doing, and they just want to generate lead, how do you then take your values that you have, and we'll get into it deeper, but take those values and say, no, this is about people, this is about relationships, this is about something larger than just an email address entered into a form on a website?
Absolutely. So for me, the message is very, very clear, and you nailed it. It's relationships. Someone has raised their hand that they have interest in the possibility of becoming a homeowner or the possibility of selling their home. And I feel we have an obligation as real estate professionals to get it out of our minds that Zillow is, they have created a platform to allow us to connect with consumers. And I feel that I may not like the way things have changed over the last 10 years, but as far as I wish it was just referrals, right? And that old traditional type of business. But reality is that if I stay behind, then my business is going to suffer, and I'm not going to be able to help more consumers. So I have realized and adapted the where we're at in our industry, and say, I just want to help more people. And if they're connecting me with more people, then I'm really, really, enjoying the process along the way and helping more people. And along the way, also my agents get to connect with more people. So that's the way I look at it. They're not leads. They are new opportunities to connect with more people.
And you just said the word people like 12 times in 2 sentences, Dave. And this is the whole thing the big warning that you have for agents the whole time is as much as technology changes this business, and either you get on the technology bandwagon or you get left behind, but ultimately so much has changed in our business and so much will never change in our business. And that word people, Dave, you still got to put them in the car.
That's what in your car.
End up at.
So, Veronica, could you talk a little bit about how in your team concept, they already lead when they start. I mean, the first thing, here's something that comes in, how you convert it from what we commonly call a lead to somebody that you're going to have a relationship. How do you go about that? Especially in team concept. I mean, because you're not evidently handling them all yourself. You have people that do that for you, I would imagine, or you do some of your own. But, what exactly is the process you follow to get them to where you're sitting in front of them?
Great question, Dave. It really has to do with systems. So, I'm a very passionate person. I love to talk with people, right? But at the end of the day, I'm running a careless business if I don't have the systems in place. Lead comes in or the contact comes in. We are committed to a response time that is less than 5 minutes. I have a concierge manager. So when you call the Figueroa team or you contact the Figueroa team, you're going to get a response within 5 minutes or less. That's our standard, either from my agent or from my concierge manager. Okay, so that is the first initial process for us. When we're calling them, we're just saying, thank you so much for reaching out to us. We know you have choices. I even have a video that instantly drops to them that states, we know you have choices. We appreciate you reaching out to us. We cannot wait to connect with you to talk about what you're looking to do through this journey. And we're just glad you chose to work with us. So if we can't contact them immediately on the phone, because let's say they're at work or they're on an app, whether they're on realtor.com or they're on Zillow or however they reached out to us, we understand that consumers right now are connecting with us and maybe they're not ready to talk, maybe they're not ready to pick up the phone, right? So my concierge manager, myself, or my team is going to reach out to them. What is the best method of communication? Usually the way they reach out to us is how we're going to initially contact.
She'll come back.
The way that they're connected with me. And if they prefer email, then we're going to communicate with them via email. And then also say, we'd love the opportunity to have a conversation with you. So that's initially how the response is, the initial conversation looks. And then from there, if we get them on the phone, I guarantee you, we have our own little secret sauce and I'm passionate about it. I know we talk differently, we sound different than other agents, and they're going to do business with us.
And that's really the key to it. I think a lot of it, Dave, is I think a lot of agents aren't doing that. I mean, unfortunately, and we said this before, Dave, it's very easy to stand out in this industry, and it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be that easy to create a really good experience, but it still is. Just a little human connection, answering, with a video or a bomb saying, hey, look, we care. How can we help you? And so what we do now through the leads that are being generated is there's far more leads generated than deals closed. And so that lead has been a lead multiple times before they ever get to the closing table. So they've been a lead before. And so if you're the one person that's going to change that, drop that on its head and say, okay, you're a person. It's just like my favorite client is not a client that I sell the very first house to. My very favorite client is someone that's worked with an agent before and has a benchmark of what service is, so that when they get to work with Jordan, Trish, and I, they're blown away, right? Because they have a benchmark of what an experience is. And I like that client. And so if I was a lead 3 previous times, and then I get Veronica saying, hey, look, we're here to help you. We're here to, to have a relationship to help you. That's all of a sudden you go, well, this is different. It's not that hard, Dave, still to be different in a 2016 world, which shocks me. But once again, that's the reason why we make the money that we make, Dave. You said it before, if everyone knew what they were doing.
Yeah, and you can share it with them, but people aren't willing to do it. A lot of agents aren't willing to do it. They want to call them one time. They want that lead to be a quick turnover immediately, and then they forget about them. And it's so unfair to the consumer who really would like to work with an expert. And why don't you help me create a path that's going to get me one step closer to homeownership? And that's what we want to do differently. We don't want you to feel ignored. And if you fall into our nurture bucket, I promise you, I even have a little video that I drop on you saying, here's a little bell that we celebrate when we take buyers and sellers to the closing closing table, and we can't wait to get you there. So
Awesome.
It's really something that we can have fun with.
Now, Veronica, I don't know if this is something that you just said off the top or if it's a statement you make all the time, but I wrote it down immediately, and it's a phenomenal statement. You're running a careless business if you don't have systems in place. I mean, that is just, and Dave, we see this all the time. Like, if you have to go to bed at night and you're like, what did I accomplish or what I didn't accomplish because things aren't down, because things aren't in a system, you're going to spend a lot more energy just trying to maintain that. You'll never have the energy to actually deliver because those, and you guys, Dave, on your team, I think you're the systems guy on your team to make sure that that is how it is done. Speak to, you're running a careless business, Dave, if you don't have systems in place.
Well, you know, it really all depends on how much business you want to do and what level you want to take your business to. If you want to do 12 deals a year, you don't need systems. Just kind of keep it all in your head, keep it all on a piece of paper, written in your thing, and you move forward. But you know, if you want to be efficient and serve your clients, you absolutely, systems are that's the key to the whole thing, because, you know, and you will keep improving your systems so you don't have to actually wind up with more people. All right. And then there comes a point where you need more people to leverage yourself. But systems to us, I mean, that's all I ever talk about in team meetings, the system. You follow this in, you follow on the checklist, you know, and whenever there's a glitch or there's something that happens that shouldn't have happened, it's not going to happen again because there's now a new item on the checklist. Yeah. So we're going to check that before we get to this point. All right. And it's very important to us.
And I look at people like Veronica's team or Chris Spiker, for an example, or a Nathan Dart, all these people that we've talked about on the show for you. Nothing like this happens by accident. I have yet to see someone be ultimately successful, a Lee Brown of the world or any of these people, and it be just like, I don't know how this happened. Like, they all know exactly how it happened. You don't become Remax or McDonald's or Nike or Apple by accident. And I think a lot of agents are running their business by accident. And now that's fine. Like you said, if it's a 12 deals a year, go ahead and knock your socks off. I think the average in the real estate industry is probably 4 or 5 a year. But if you want to have a business, it won't happen by accident. It just can't happen by accident. And that really gets down to, it's funny because when I reached out to Veronica, I said, Veronica, you know, I really want to get into the things that you're passionate about. Within seconds, she sent me this detailed list of what the Figueroa team's core values are. And it is as clear about this is what we are, this is what we do, and this is how we do it, that once again, that just proved to me, this is not, she wasn't like, I think my core values are, she sent me an image and that runs through. So talk about, is that the foundation that everything's built upon, Veronica, or our systems and core values or the icing on the cake? Where does growing a team, growing a business, where does the core values fall in the construction of a business?
You know, I am so passionate about this subject, and the core values really are going to make the difference of what you're building as a team. You know, you can hire to your core values. You can release an agent to your core values. You can coach and mentor people to your core values. They're individual to who you want to be as a team. When we put together our core values, it was a result of failure. It was a result of us doing it wrong before and saying, we know who we want to be as a team. How do we get there? And going back to people, we had the systems in place and we just needed the right people. And who were those people? We really sat down and thought about, who do we want to be in business with? What are the things that we want them to believe in, that we believe in, that's in line with us? And that's what I was talking about on stage. When I was here, I wasn't talking about how to close more deals, because that's going to happen if you got good people and good systems. We were talking about the importance of core values. So for us, for example, one of my favorite is doing just enough is not enough, you know, always aiming to exceed expectations. So that's where we go back with how we respond to our leads and how we, you know, give wow service. How are we wowing our clients, giving back to the community? These things are just so near and dear to my heart. And it has so amazing what these core values have done to our business. And if I could say anything to my fellow colleagues out there, if you're building something, and even if your team is small, your core values will give you such clarity to who you want to be as a business professional and what you stand for in your business.
Now, you sent to me, Veronica, there's 10 core values on the list, and one jumped out to me. I mean, a lot of them jump out to me, but the one about always aim to exceed expectations, that is, on the surface, is so clear. Exceed expectations. That's what's going to create someone who's super passionate, who goes out there, who says you have to use the Figueroa team or else you're a fool. That's what creates that. But it's a layer less that I think a lot of people don't understand. In order to exceed an expectation, you must understand the expectation to which you're trying to exceed. And I think that's where a lot of agents fall short, is they don't qualify their clients and try to articulate very clearly what their expectations are so that you can exceed them. Because what's an expectation to one person might not be the same value to someone else. Someone might say the quickest amount of time. The next person says the highest value. The next person says the least amount of headaches. The expectations are different. So when you aim as a team, as one of your core values, to exceed the expectations, what is in place to understand what those expectations are in the first place?
You know, your buyer consults, they're so important. You know, when you're sitting and you're having your consultation, we do a pre-listing phone call and a pre-listing welcome email, recapping that phone call before we even step foot in their house, reinforcing what we understood the conversation to be. We're having a buyer consult with this lead or this person or this new contact. We want to sit down and ask what's important to them, right? And you know, we go through our script. We have scripts, but our scripts are so well, that's so natural. You know, we use LP Mama, location, price, motivation. Are you working with the, you know, agent, mortgage, and appointment, right? We do that, but then we add the twist of being genuine and really caring about what we're trying to deliver. And when I ask the question, what's your motivation? That is the guide for me to know, okay, if you had a magic wand, how soon do you want to be in your new home? And they tell me 30 days, I'm on a 6-month plan. Now I can cater to this person, right? And now I can help them because I did understand their expectations. So yes, understanding the expectations. So what do we have in place? We follow a system that is proven, a system that is not going to allow you to fail if you follow it, care, and just aim to provide superior service.
Yeah, and it does come down to, and Dave, if you have a headache with a buyer or seller, I can most times trace it back to the fact that you didn't understand the expectations and therefore it became a headache. If at the end of the buyer consultation, so we have a very detailed buyer consultation, I say to them at the end of it, any questions? And usually the answer is like, nope. And the reason why, nope, no questions, is because I dealt with the questions that have come up over and over and over again. So there shouldn't be any questions. And if there is a question, that's not an outlier question that shows itself 3 or 4 times, then it, like you say, that becomes part of the presentation so that I can make sure that your expectations, I understand what's required of me, you understand what's required of you, and there's no, it's in the dark. It's in the what if or what's happening or what's next that creates the headache. And that comes down to just doing your pre-listing, pre-buyer. And I hear agents all the time. I don't have, I just go sit down at the table and we just talk.
Michael, it sounds like you watched our listing presentation class.
Your listing presentation is phenomenal.
I'm hearing that.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, that's where you and I met, Dave. You and I met doing a panel at R4 4 years ago about listing presentations. And the reasons that this show came to be is because you and I, even though I think that we're on the different side of the same coin, we see things the exact same way. And it comes into that as qualifying the expectations. Veronica, integrity before personal gain is another one of your core values. But that also comes down to something that Dave and I say all the time. And once again, I think these are core to you and your team, but that build a business versus be transactional. Once you put personal gain into it, then you're no longer putting your client first, and then that all the cards start to fall on building a business, and you're just thinking about the next 2 weeks. You're not thinking of the next 5 years. The difference between transactional minded and here's, you said something too as well. You said we hire to our core values and we let people go to our core values. And that must mean if you are going to put yourself before the client or before the team, then you probably aren't the right fit. And so how do you then go and hire to your core values? Do you just say which one of these apply to you? How do you find out that they're just not saying yes? How do you go about hiring to your core value?
No, we have been in growth mode, and I think at this point I'm in a very lucky position. I have a wonderful team, and right now, before they even meet with me, they go through 2 layers of interview. I know it sounds pretty corporate-y, but we're really just running a business now that is just, it has intention and purpose. So they're being screened by my team first. They're being screened by my husband, who's my partner, and my concierge manager before they even get to me. So I'm getting excitement from them, whether they believe this person really is a good fit. And there are times where we find out that they're not a good fit after we, and that's where we have to take action. But you know, it's really, you know, you just, you ask questions that are, you know, what's important to you? What are you looking to accomplish when you join a team? Why are you looking to join a team? And if the conversation is leads, and high split, fit for me. You know, I'm looking for someone to say, you know, I want to work with a team that's going to help me grow. I want to help people. I'm just inspired by how, as a real estate agent, I have the ability to have unlimited income. And I also just, you know, I want to be around a movement of just helping people, but also being a part of one of the best companies in the world, RE/MAX. And I'm looking for key conversations, key words and energy. And I might be wrong. Sometimes I'm wrong. Sometimes I forget that, you know, people will say what you want, what they think you want to hear. But it won't be long before it comes to light if you're not a good fit. If you're complaining about showing up to the morning meetings at 8:30 after, you know, after you were tailgating on Sunday, it doesn't matter. You have to show up on Mondays if you're going to be a part of the team, and we're going to, you know, huddle up, and we're going to share what our core values were, and we're going to share what experience you may have had that you had to tap into one of the core values, and it reminded you to be solution oriented. If you're complaining about things like that, it's going to come to light real quick. And guess who's the one who doesn't make the decision? I don't. My team does. They say this person is not a good fit. You know, they're not a good fit to our core values, or they're not willing to work hard enough. And I think we need to have a conversation with them. So I hire to it. And again, I might be wrong sometimes because I make mistakes. I'm not perfect, but we take action, we pivot, and then we have to be true to our core values and say this was a mistake. I've done it many times.
And on that note, would you prefer a new agent that's just got their license, that's not burdened by the traditional stereotypes of real estate, or do you prefer, you know, because we had this exact same with the Stone sisters, and they preferred an agent that went on their own for a year or two, that struggled, so that they understand the value of the team. I think when someone just comes in and they're new, perhaps they don't see the value on how hard it is to be the person generating the leads, to put the systems in place. They don't see the value of that. Do you care new agent versus experienced agent, or are you looking more personality and you'll figure out all the other stuff later on?
Okay, so I get this question a lot. I have a mix of agents on my team. Prefer less than 2 years in the industry. I really love new agents. I know it's funny because we hear that RE/MAX, right? We only want seasoned agents. I say this all the time. I will tap into your top potential, and you will become a top producer. Okay, if you follow our systems. I'm looking for will, I'm looking for heart, I'm looking for passion, I'm looking for, you know, someone who really is eager to learn this business. Oftentimes it is a seasoned agent who maybe is struggling to build their own business. So I am not a one size fits all type of person. I will take a new agent, I will take a, you know, seasoned agent, I will take a less than 2 years. My personal preference is less than 2 years or a newer agent than seasoned. I will still coach and mentor seasoned agents, and maybe they're just not a good fit for my team, you know. So it's not that I don't want to work with them, because I am also a broker, and I say to them, listen, you know what, maybe a team's not a good fit for you, but I think I got a program for you. I'm going to put you in a mentorship program, and come on in, learn what we do, hear what we do, and I think you've got what it takes to be a great individual agent or a great. So, you know, I don't have the right answer. I want people, I want real people. And I said it yesterday on stage, I'll take will over skill all day long. You know, I'll be open to hitting your highest potential. And I promise you, I'm going to make you a top producer.
Yeah, I absolutely will over skill. And I think I put out a tweet, maybe it was just to our little tribe, that I definitely have will over skill. That's how I'm built, and I wouldn't want it any other way. That's just the way I prefer. I think that's what makes I prefer to have that. On that note, then, Veronica, are you okay of coaching these people up, them getting the inside track, them learning? Because when I first got in the business, teams didn't exist. The only teams that existed were husband and wives, right? There weren't really these teams, and so. If I was a new agent, I would find the most ethical, the most core valued team, and I would learn from them. Do you have a problem with a young agent coming in, soaking up your culture, soaking up the understanding of the systems, and then saying 6 years later, I'm ready to be the Veronica Figueroa, I'm ready to go on my own? Or are you looking for sort of a lifetime no trade clause commitment from a younger agent? Does that bother you? Does that something you try to avoid? Because not everyone's a team leader. There's people that are better off being in number 4 on a team and will never be number 1s. That's just how they're built. But do you avoid that person that's going to eventually go off and become someone like you?
A fraud if I did not allow them the opportunity to grow. And I have agents in my office who started off on my team and now are hitting platinum, and they are running their own team, and we are an open book, and we invite their team to prospect and network and learn and challenge with our team. You know, some of my greatest friends and agents in my office are now building their team, and they started out on my team. I am an open book with them. See, I feel that I have such an awesome ability to help other people. And one of my mantras and one of my mission is dream big. I want to motivate. And if I can inspire you to do something that you didn't think you could do, then perhaps our journey, right, is to be together for a couple years. And then at that point, we served our purpose as a team together. Now I'm ready to cheer you on and saying, yeah, rock on. We're doing the goal here is to change lives. The goal here is to help people reach their highest level of potential. And it would be so selfish of me to say that you can't ever be a team lead on your own. Creating opportunities within my team and creating many team leaders within my team, promoting people to my listing partner, saying, hey, you're probably going to be wanting someone to be the CEO of my team in the future, because I'm not going to open and close doors for the rest of my life, Michael. I want to tap into more expansion teams and leadership, and how do I create phenomenal leaders within what my vision is. But if it plays its course and they're ready to step away, listen, Boomtown's no secret. You can buy zip codes on Zillow. I'm not doing anything that you can't do on your own. I just simply am allowing you to be a part of my resources and together.
Absolutely. It's funny that I don't know if you can see it or not, but I put Easter eggs in the back of our sets all the time, and you sent me something. So it does say dream, inspire, dream, motivate, and inspire. And you just said those things. And what is that mentality, Veronica? Dave and I have the same thing too. This mentality of I'm not willing to share because I'm going to keep everything for myself, and this versus there's more than enough buyers and sellers and ideas and opportunities for us to openly share. What is the mentality of someone who's successful, who says, no, I'm an open book, I'm going to share, and maybe that comes down to who they are. Dave's that way. I think one of the most precious things in our industry is our listing presentation. I think that's one of the most precious pieces of content we have. Dave sits and trains the people in his marketplace how to give great listing presentations. He's not fearful. It comes from a place of plenty. What has that always been your mindset? Can someone go from being closed to changing that through mentorship, through inspiration, through some leadership, or you're destined to have that mentality and there's no fix for you, and you'll always see things from the other side?
I've always been very giving, and I think that goes back to that core value of give back to the community. When I say community, I don't mean just during Halloween giving candies out to the kids and 4th of July doing something where I bring out the tethered balloon and giving back to the community and raising money for Children's Miracle Network. I'm talking about giving back to the community. Give back to people. give back to people. When I walked off a stage yesterday and I gave my personal story about how I became who I became, it was a result to everything I've been through. And someone came up to me and said, thank you so much for sharing your story. It really meant a lot to me. And I'm going to go back and implement some things in my life. That's what I'm talking about, giving back to people. So I've never been one to say, oh my gosh, I don't want anyone to know my secrets. I've grown my business as a result to other amazing people sharing with me their secrets. The Chris Spikers of the world, the Robert Slacks of the world, and just such amazing people who say, guys, I'm willing to give it to you. You know why? Because 80% of the people are going to listen to it and aren't even not going to implement it. You could tell them everything, and most people just don't have enough passion or enough motivation to get their foot on the ground and say, let's do this, right? So it's no different than this. I want more people to do it. I want more people to have movement. And guess what? If they implement and they get better, it pushes me to say, wow, now we have to get even more, innovative. And we have to now, continue to push the envelope because now everyone's doing this. So it just allows us to continue to elevate. And, my good friend Valerie Garcia, who I love very much, and she's someone who inspires me every single day. I remember hearing her at R4 say, what's your secret sauce? And that's the thing. Valerie has been a contributor to me, helping me realize that if I have systems and I have all these things, it's my secret sauce that matters, right? It's that special ingredients that makes that Big Mac taste so good. And that's what I believe is what's different. People to tap into our secret sauce. I've got people walking in through the office or other agents saying to my agents, man, you're doing great. You're doing 7 million on a team. You could do 14 million on your own. Why don't you lead the team? My team says, why should I? Man, I'm good. I can go on vacation for a week. I know my team lead's got my back. I've got things covered. I can walk into the system again and plug and play. I've got, people waiting to connect with me. And my broker or my team lead is my partner. And, there's a lot of ingredients to this that's more than just the systems and the leads and the, and knowing how to do it. You can do it. By the time you try to replicate it, I might be onto something else. And I will always support you. However, there is more to it. It's the secret sauce that, again, it's what makes you guys unique, each and every one of us as team leads and brokers.
Great. Dave, anything on that?
Well, it's to provide so much value that your team, your culture of your team provides so much value to them. She just said it. Why would I want to go anywhere else and attempt to do all these things that I may not even be good at? All right. When we're trying to build a team as well, and we like to say, we're going to put you to what you're really good at. If you're a good listing agent, you may not be a good buyer agent, or you may not be good at paperwork. You may hate paperwork. You may be a good buyer agent, but you have no clue on how to do a market analysis on a property, and you don't even want to learn. And you want to take off on a weekend now and then. You can't do that if you're not on a team. If you try to do all the components of selling real estate today, I just don't know how a single agent even attempts to do anything like that and builds a substantial income.
Well, and you're right, because
I'm sorry, as a single agent, you can close successfully 20, 25 transactions, 48 transactions, but you're going to be running yourself ragged, and it's hard, and I've been there. And I agree with Dave to that point.
Look at me, I'm 25 years old. Look at that.
And I agree with you so much on that point. It's like, we're not saying that teams are the holy grail and that everybody has to be on a team. I'm not saying that at all. I have some successful agents in my office that are near and dear to my heart. But when they come to me and they say, Veronica, I'm burnt out. I can't make the kids' games. My husband's stressed because when I'm on vacation, I'm always on the phone. I say, okay, let's talk about what leverage looks like. Maybe it's time to get an assistant, maybe a showing agent, and let's talk about maybe structuring a team. People have this misconception that we're talking everybody has to be a mega team, and that's not what we're saying. We're just saying that we as real estate agents have created a perception that we have to work 24 hours, we have to be available all the time for our clients, and we have to kill ourselves to make a lot of money, and it shouldn't be that way. We can still grow our business healthy in an organic manner, have leverage, and run a true business with want to be a part of it. And that's just my philosophy. That's what I believe in. And I'm not saying anything that hasn't been said before. I'm just living the dream, and I'm loving every ounce of it, every minute of it. And it's people like you guys who are opening other agents' eyes up to bigger. Think bigger beyond opening and closing real estate, opening and closing doors, and think bigger beyond the leads.
We've said it here a lot about treat this like a business. And there's no business on earth, none, anywhere that I ever heard of, where one person is doing everything in a business. So that's sort of the key to it. If you're going to run it like a business, you got to have different components, and the whole, everybody that's involved in the team is going to make way more compensation, have better lives, not just the compensation. You're going to have time off, like Veronica just said, and it's probably more important than even how much money you make, to be honest with you.
And momentum, right? In momentum, we talk about finding your motivational language, your passion link, and all the things that we really want our agents, so that they can have complete agent development, complete success. But success is not just the money; it's about also the quality of life that we can live.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Agreed. I'm going to take a veer off, and I promise that I'm going to veer. I'll drive the car back towards core values, but it's an interesting thing. Veronica, are you on Snapchat?
I am.
Sorry, I didn't hear that. Are you on Snapchat?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So there's a lot of things. So we go around. We I like to say, okay, what's like. I can't imagine my business in 2016 without Facebook. But I remember there was a time before my second boy was born. I said I'm never going to go on Facebook, and now, My North Line, Fraser Valley 5, and Mobile Agent TV. I can't imagine my life without Facebook. And I think we have to be aware that perhaps something is coming that's a little bit different. And this will come back to core values. I picked up Jesse here in Vancouver, and we drove the 2 hours up to Whistler, and he started opening up his stats from his Snapchat. And he like does custom filters at like these big games, like hockey games, and the interaction he's getting is unbelievable. Like the numbers are like staggering. I think it was like for $40. So there was an outdoor hockey game in Winnipeg last week, and he paid like $30 to have 30,000 impressions and like 500 uses of his custom filter. Like these things that we have to be aware of are happening. And today the announcement is Vine is dead. Vine is gone from Twitter. I continue to see Twitter fall by the wayside as a place that actual engagement and actual conversations are happening. I don't think Twitter is the number 2 social platform right now. I think everyone needs to be on Facebook, but there's other things that are an option out there. And I don't say you need to go out there and be a power user on Snapchat. I'm certainly not. But one thing you do have to have comes back to something that you said, Veronica. I think it's in your bio, is the importance of always staying current in this industry that's changing very, very fast, and to fight complacency. And you talked about Zillow at the start of it. The game has changed. You may want it the way it was 10 years ago, but it's not. And we have to accept that. And when we sit down in our buyer consultations and we ask our buyers, how would you like to be communicated with primarily? 2 of my most recent first-time home buyers said Snapchat. That's the first mode of communication they want to communicate with. So I had to communicate with them on Snapchat because I had to meet their expectations. And sure, that's not where we negotiated the offer, and that's not where we had financing conversations. Those happened on the phone or face-to-face. But it's changing. The importance, Veronica, of always, and it's going to be quicker and quicker and quicker and quicker, of always being, and I think let me make sure that I've got it. Staying current in the real estate industry is utmost importance. Where does that? How do you put your thumb? Does someone assign? Do you sign that from the team? What keeps you nimble? Keeps you curious? Keeps you aware that not only is our industry changing, but society is changing, and the importance of always being aware of that.
It's just inevitable. We have to, if we want to stay relevant in this industry, adapt to what's going on. Spencer said it on stage. It's moving so fast. You talk about how we are now saying, I was at this conference and people are saying, hey, do you have your business card? Or, you know what, just add me on Facebook. Let's just get on Facebook and start communicating. You and I have been communicating via Messenger on Facebook. Yeah. And it's just like, these are things that we never thought were going to be a way that we communicate. Lead generation through Facebook. Spencer just announced that they are partnering with Facebook on how to do more, exposure for agents who want to promote their properties, right? Snapchat, we also did a filter when we were at a softball game of the Figueroa team. We're like, there's going to be a lot of people here, and people are on Snap. And one of our agents said, I created a filter for us. It costs $25 for 2 hours, and it's, oh my God, this is the radius. And we're like, wow. how bigger can that be, you know, when we have a festival, because, you know, all these kids, all these teenagers are, and then college students, they're on Snap. They say, hey, I've heard conversations. Hey, are you on Snap? You know, follow me on Snap, you know, and I'm like, oh my God, this world has changed. This is so hard. You know, you mentioned, Vine, and then you think Periscope, and now you've got 360 Facebook Live on Facebook, and now Instagram stories, and it's just crazy how we have just evolved. And I find myself, you know, I'm not a millennial, but I'm very close to them in the way I think, I believe, because I'm surrounded by so many of them. I choose to recruit millennials because they keep me on my toes. They help me be I feel like I'm staying relevant when I have on my team, and they help those who are not millennials on the team understand the communication. But you know, it's a game changer. We have to adapt. Doesn't mean you can't sell real estate if you're not on them, but if you really want to understand the way our world is communicating, you have to be able to just embrace the change and get involved. I mean, I'm still not really good on Snapchat. I posted when I was, you know, I had an audience, and I'm like, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Snap, you know, and you know, and I'm building an audience because I'm trying to be intentional on the fact that I cannot solely stay on Facebook. And to that point, when I was on stage, and Mark Martin tagged me, and he was like, Veronica, you did great on stage. And there was someone in the audience, a big broker from, I think he was from New Jersey, I don't even remember, but he was looking me up on LinkedIn, and he said I didn't have a picture on my bio. And I'm like, oh crap. I was like, that's really careless of me. I was like, I forgot about LinkedIn. There's still people who, from a professional standpoint, will look you up on LinkedIn for credibility. So I'm like, I got to talk to my marketing girl. We got to work on that. So not only are we Instagram, Twitter, you know, Snapchat, Facebook, now we're saying, let's not leave behind LinkedIn either, because, you know, we also have to remember, not everyone is on Facebook. Not everyone is willing to do, you know, to make that their first preference of default platform, right? That's what we think. So, I mean, I just think it just keeps us on our toes, and just, it's important.
And I think, you know, if you're surrounding yourself by millennials too as well, and this is me, and maybe I flex this muscle. Dave, you definitely have this in some form, is I actually like change now. I like the opportunity that change presents, because I know that the vast majority of people won't take that opportunity, so it gives me an edge. I like change. One thing that millennials, and I paint them all with a brush, is they don't see change as a bad thing. They kind of like it. They like it changing. And this will be the huge contrast between the traditional agent who fights change at every corner, comes along kicking and screaming, and the agent that they embrace the change. So we did video boot camp up in Worcester, 2-day, 50 people in a room. It was phenomenal. We had this agent come up to us and said, there's a new kid. One of the reasons why I'm here is there's a new kid in my office, 28 years old, not burdened by the way it's always being done this way, who just got on YouTube the day that he joined, and it's like breaking every record their town's ever had, because he wasn't told the only way to build this business is to open up the phone book and start dialing for dollars. He just saw it differently. He never was burdened. He grew up in a selfie world. He's not scared to be on camera. And what we have to realize is that these kids are not 13 anymore. They're 29, they're 32, they're 35. I started in this business at 19. So there's a lot of me coming along that will just take your business. Like, if you're going to say the only way I'm communicating with my client is if you pick up the phone, you're going to have a lot of young buyers saying, well, then you're not the agent for me. And I think that Dave, you see change, you go, is this an opportunity? And you are skeptical. I mean, I think you look at it and go, is this a time waster? Is this adds value? But if you can determine it adds value, you don't hesitate to do it. You go and do it. That's just
actually, because of the change, I'm still here. I've been doing this long. I would have, if there wasn't all this change going on, I would have been out of here a long time ago. I would have said, this is boring. I mean, you know, I know how to sell real estate. I can sell a lot of it. I can run around, but you know, change has made it fun. Every day you wake up, we hear it. I come on, we do mobile agent TV. I learned something I didn't know yesterday. Hey, look at this, a new thing. You go on Facebook, you go on the Play thing, and there's somebody doing something really cool. Well, let's try that. And you know, we evaluate it and we move forward. And it's just made it fun. Without it, Business is easy, I think. I don't think it's just so hard. It's not rocket science.
Veronica, I'm going to put you on the spot. I always hate when I do this because I ask publicly where there's live people watching the show right now, and you have to actually say yes because it would be weird if you didn't. Can I put the image of your 10 core values under the blog post on Mobile Agent TV so people can see all 10?
Absolutely,
okay.
absolutely.
Okay.
I mean,
so this is I forget who said you know what, it was Chris Lindahl. Chris Lindahl saying about core values. No one can just take these 10 core values and go, okay, then that's what I'll do. I'm going to do these 10 core values. You can't just go to someone's LinkedIn profile and say, I'm going to take their mission statement and then I'm going to live that path. If people want to identify their core values, because I think it's instrumental in understanding of where you're going to go, your why. If you don't understand your core values, how are you possibly going to articulate them to the public, even if it's subconsciously articulating it to the public? How does one go about saying, okay, these aren't my 10? How do people walk their own path?
The Traveler's Gift by Andy Andrews is one of the best books that I've read. My coach recommended that I read it when I was struggling with coming up with our core values. After I read that book, it really inspired me to just really myself to decide who I wanted to be. But also, I brought my team in. We had a meeting and I said, I would love for you guys to share with me what this means to you, what we stand for in your opinion. We literally had all kind of phrases and feelings and you know, quotes and we took them, we wrote them all down. We took a picture of it, I remember. And for a month and a half, I struggled with it. I said, oh my gosh, I was like, you know, I really need to make sure I can get this all on paper and not miss anyone's, you know, opinion. But it had to also resonate with me. And my team was doing really good. They put 40 units on the board. I remember it was April or May of this year. And we had a little bit of our core values, but it wasn't as profound as it is now. And we took them all on a cruise. And, you know, I had folders made, I had the core values made, and I said, guys, this is really near and dear to my heart. These are your core values. You guys helped us come up with this as a result of spending so much time together and really based on being true with us as far as what we stand for. This is who we are. And we unveiled it and we did it in a professional manner with nice pens, a nice, you know, like a menu and in the folder, that's the Figueroa team. And we've got our shirts and we're excited. I said, this is who we are, but because we came up with this together. And I recommend if you're a small team or if you're just now starting, husband and wife, your core values may change along the way as your team starts evolving and turning into something bigger, right? And maybe it might not even be on paper when you're smaller, but you live by it, right? And you hire to it and you run your business by it. But if you're really looking to put something on paper, you know, be intentional. I recommend reading that book. The Alchemist is another book that gave me clarity, but you know, you just said it, Michael. I can't go and take your mission statement and say, oh, wow, that's my mission too. No, it can't be that way. It has to be unique to you, to your movement, to who you want to be as a leader, to the type of people you want to hire, and what's important to you. This is what's important to me and to the people that I work with. Again, our personal secret sauce. Please do not go out there and create and copy anyone else. But if they give you inspiration, then make it yours, you know, but you hit it right on the head. This has to be unique to you and your culture.
I'm glad that she said I was right. These little personal victories. One last thing before you go, Veronica, and we have an audience of all brands from all over North America, around the world that watch the show. We are Remax heavy in content, and that's okay. I think there's a lot of things that I think I'm in the right place for myself and our team. We're in the right place. Dave feels we're in the right place. You mentioned at the beginning of the show you were at a boutique brokerage. You moved to Remax, I think 5 years ago or something like that. You said 2012 or 2009. Why Remax? Why make the move? What has been the benefit? How does the core values or the brand or the purpose of Remax align with the Figueroa team? Take us through that decision and how that's played out for you and how it's affected your business.
I made the decision because at the time I knew I wanted to offer more to my agents. I was ready to support them with better systems. I was ready to offer them something that I truly felt was needed. There was a gap, there was something missing, and I had this intuition that I needed to offer more. And I remember I had previously been with Keller, and they had wanted me to turn into a satellite office and roll my team in. I had done that before and it didn't go well, and the broker, the team lead, was really after me and saying, come on, Veronica, you're doing, you have a team, go focus on your team, let's align ourselves together. And just it wasn't feeling it. And I remember saying, because my area is very KW heavy, and I love them. I love a lot. I have a lot of friends there, and I'm not knocking it, but it wasn't for me at the time. And I remember sitting with my assistant at the time. I said, what's the next best thing? What else is out there that is like really, really powerful and something that I feel would be that's needed in this area? I was like, I wonder what it takes to be a RE/MAX agent. I wonder what it takes to be a RE/MAX franchise. And I was in a real crazy point in my life. Life was hard at that time, but I remember having that conversation, and someone said, "You're gonna do that?" I'm like, I'm gonna look into it. Like, I think RE/MAX agents are the best. I was like, I don't know if I would qualify, but hey, let me ask. And I remember calling. I sent a message to the rep, and someone said to me, they'll give a RE/MAX office to just anybody. And I was like, no. But I'm not just anybody. If I become a RE/MAX broker, I'm going to be the best RE/MAX broker in this area. And I'm going to represent that brand with so much pride, and I believe in it. And I've always been in awe as an agent of RE/MAX agents. And it's just a personal thing for me. That's how I looked at it. And it was by far the best decision I made. I disrupt the market in my area, and I am so proud to represent this company. And it's not just about the brand, it's about the people and the relationships. And to this day, again, not that I'm white and blue, okay? But it's not, I understand there's great companies out there, but this was for me the best decision. And how I aligned with it was the fact that I said, what's the best out there? And in my opinion, RE/MAX was the best.
Okay, so that was the decision at the time. It's now been how many years after? How long have you been with RE/MAX now?
5 years.
Okay, so now 5 years later, in a hotel room in Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas, looking back on the decision, what is exactly the same as you thought it would be? What is different? How do you now look back, and now you can actually 2020 vision see the effect of becoming a RE/MAX agent and a RE/MAX brokerage?
Looking back, it's been a ride. We've made a lot of mistakes. It's like anything. RE/MAX is not, a box that says, here you go, and poof, it's perfect. You still have to work hard. And we've done, you're a small business owner, you're a franchise owner. We've done a lot of mistakes. And, the support team and the other brokers in the community of RE/MAX that I've become friends with, yourself and, RE/MAX Canada, they are just amazing. It's helped me become a better business owner, a better leader, a better friend, just for our community. And truthfully, I wouldn't change it. I'm happy. I think I will retire RE/MAX. I love it. It's home for me. And I just renewed my franchise, and I just bought a second franchise. So I'm in this game for a long haul.
Well, you know what? If I were to paint, Dave, if I were to paint a picture of what I think a RE/MAX person is, and they all look the same, the last 111 episodes, Dave, Veronica's one of those people, super passionate, giving, larger than the real estate transaction, open mindset, sharing. She just really, Veronica, I mean, you are RE/MAX, or RE/MAX is you, and I don't know how it works, but it's every week, Dave. These are the people that we get to surround ourselves with. And once again, goes back to the very conversation I had at the beginning of the show, talking about the flag, that when we get to go to a RE/MAX conference, and there's great conferences, multi-brand conferences, and they're amazing. But when we surround ourselves, when we walk into the office and we surround by people that come from a place of plenty, that will open their books, that will mentor you, that will inspire you, that will motivate you, that's going to make a huge difference in your business. If you go to the office and you walked by the water cooler and there's an agent willing to tear you down, willing to drag the energy out of you, like so many agents are at so many offices, how can you possibly be successful in that environment? I mean, how can you, when I was sort of down, I would avoid my old office. Now when I'm down, I run to the office because I'm going to be surrounded by great agents that are going to give you that energy boost that you need, Dave. It's not a surprise. It's not a surprise that RE/MAX agents are this way. I mean, it's not a surprise.
I'm going to put it out there. I want to be the poster child of saying, listen, you can be a RE/MAX agent. You don't have to say that's your final destination later on in your career. You can have a thriving career early on in your career with RE/MAX. You can build a team. You can have expansion. This thing that RE/MAX is just, for experienced agent or not willing to adapt to change. I want to be the poster child of saying that's not true. We are adapting to change. We're an amazing company. We have amazing agents, and we are we're keeping current with the trends. And I get to speak with the leadership team at corporate, and I know they're working on a lot of cool things for our agents and really embracing the fact that this industry is changing. And I'm excited to be a part of that movement and see even change evolving within the RE/MAX industry and the RE/MAX world. And I'm just excited. Can you tell?
No, I can't tell at all. It's when a dear friend of mine, and you've already mentioned her on the show, very, very dear friend of mine, professionally and personally, one of the most inspirational people in my life, Valerie Garcia, said, "Wait till you get a load of Veronica's personality," and clearly,
and by the way, she's the only one that's been certified to sit in my seat in my absence. There can be other people who can come here and be a co-host, but Valerie Garcia is the only one that has the seal of approval.
Dave,
awesome.
Dave, phenomenal episode. I know before we got on the air, you were excited about it. Any particular takeaway? Any particular thing that sort of resonates with you about the last hour?
Well, I'm making notes only because and there's nothing written down here that I sort of didn't already kind of grasp or been through at some point. I just make them to kind of cement things in my head. And the core values thing is the thing that really sticks with me. We have our core values written upstairs and a big thing on the side in Vanessa's office. And I guess what I really got out of it is I don't think we put enough value in those things that, because Veronica shared with us, she hires to it, she fires to it. So it's really like the heart and the guts of what she's doing. And I think it's really key that it should be that way for anybody that wants to, not just building a team. If you're just going to be a little individual agent, you still have to have core values. Why the hell am I getting up every morning to go out and help all these people? And you internalize that. It's got to be the foundation for everything and the reason for everything that you do. And that's kind of the number one thing. And I appreciate her sharing that with us. Thank you.
Agreed. Veronica Figueroa. I'm going to say it one more time, just because I'm getting a little brave that I'm pronouncing that right. How do people get a hold of you down in Orlando, Florida? How do people reach out? Ask you a question, say thank you for sharing, send you referrals, all that good stuff. How do people find you?
Look me up on Facebook. I'm very active on Facebook, Veronica Figueroa. I mean, you can find me. I'm the only RE/MAX Veronica Figueroa. Private message me. My cell phone number, I'm an open book, 407-301-9574. I'll repeat it, 407-301-9574. Look us up, thefigueroateam.com. We're active. Find us on social media, Instagram, Veronica Figueroa Realtor. Instagram is The Fig Team. Twitter is Figueroa Team. Figueroa Team. So many ways, and I'm an open book. Email me at veronica@figueroateam.com, and I'd be more than happy to connect with you.
Michael,
awesome.
Before we go, Veronica, where are you originally from? You're not from Orlando, Florida.
No, I was Germany. My parents are Puerto Rican, New Yorican, and I got that, I got that swag. I know.
Well, and Dave, you can set that from based on attitude, accent. How do you figure that out?
God, she could be from New Jersey or Bronx or something. Up here we got everybody. She's talking fast. The further south you go, the slower everything kind of slows down. Up here, man, things are going a million miles a minute, just like her. But there's a place for that. Believe me, you get a lot more done.
In the promo for the show, I said vivacious personality, and that may be an understatement. Veronica, thank you so much. I know that you're busy, and you know what? And I also want to thank you for another thing. I was burnt out emotionally after last week about being on the road. We were in Toronto, we were in Boston, we were in Whistler, and we were scheduled for last week's show. And I reached out to you, said, "Is there any way we can push it back?" I was just overwhelmed, and you said, "Absolutely." And you're coming off the stage. You're in a hotel room to put an hour of your life aside for us and for our audience is super, super appreciated. Not surprised, but appreciated. And I just want to say thank you very, very much for that. It's the common theme last 3.5 years, Dave. Amazing agents willing to share that stop what they're doing in order to give back because someone else helped them along the way, and then they'll help someone, and it just continues to breed a culture that's phenomenal. So Veronica, thank you so much for giving us an hour of your time. And just remind you, next week's episode, super excited about it because I think it's the foundation. We're gonna get technical a little bit of building a great business. Listing heavy is always a huge value. We're gonna get into the psychology of a listing with Linda O, who's a phenomenal speaker, great content. I heard her talk about this topic in Berlin last year, and we're really going to dig into it. So that's next week's episode. And as Melanie Galley of Remax Fort McMurray wants us to end every show, please tell 5 other agents about Mobile Agent TV. We grow every week. We get a new audience. A new person discovers us, allows us to reach out to amazing people like Veronica Figueroa, who will come on and give us an hour of our time. So we really appreciate it. Thank you, Veronica. You're amazing. I have one question for you off the air, so stick around. Dave, thank you so much. No, only minor problem getting on Google Hangout. A couple more weeks of Google Hangout. The new MacBook will show up. We'll be on OBS, and it'll be phenomenal. So thank you, Dave. I appreciate it. Thank you guys all for watching. We will see you next week.